Welcome students. Today I'll once more recapitulate the chapter Consumer Protection. In this we will focus on the introduction to Consumer Protection Act, objective of Consumer Protection Act, rights of consumer, the various redressal agency, counsel and one case study. Consumer Protection Act 1986. In order to provide for better protection of the interest of the Consumer Protection Bill 1986 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on 5th December 1986. The Consumer Protection Act 1986 is a social welfare legislation which was enacted as a result of widespread consumer protection movement. Next is the objective. The main objective of Consumer Protection Act is to provide speedy and simple redressal to consumer disputes. It is one of the benevolent piece of legislation intended to protect the consumer at large from exploitation. We will go through the various consumer rights. First is right to safety, right to be informed, right to be heard, right to redressal, and right to consumer education. So in total there are 6 consumer rights. Once more, who is a consumer? Any person who buys any goods for a consideration which has been paid or will be paid, hires or avails any service for the consideration which has been paid or will be paid. It does not include a person who obtains good for resale or any commercial purpose. When can a consumer file a complaint? Under certain circumstances, the complaint can be filed. First is faults by traders and manufacturers if the goods are defective. And what is the time period within which a complaint can be filed? The complaint must be filed within 3 months of purchase, and if some testing of good is required, then within 5 months. Some reliefs or remedies to consumer. First is removal of defects from the goods, replacement of the goods, refund of price paid, compensation of loss or injury suffered, removal of deficiency in service, and stopping the sale of hazardous goods. We come to the various redressal agency. So under this, we have 3 levels where we can file our grievances. First is District Forum, second is States Commission, and the third is National Commission. So first is District Forum. It shall consist of a person who is or has been or is qualified to be a district judge as its president, 2 other members, one of whom shall be a woman. Every member of the district forum shall hold office for a term of 5 years or up to the age of 65, whichever is earlier. It shall have jurisdiction to entertain complaints where the value of the goods or services and the compensation, if any, claimed does not exceed rupees 20 lakhs. The various powers of district forum are: first, to remove the defect pointed out by the appropriate laboratory from the goods in question, to replace the goods with new goods or similar description which shall be free from any defect, to return to the complainant the price, or as the case may be, the charges paid by the complainant, to pay such amount as may be awarded by it as compensation to the consumer for any loss or injury suffered by the consumer due to the negligence of the opposite party. Next level is State Commission. It is established by SG by notification. It shall have jurisdiction to entertain complaints where the value of the goods or services and compensation, if any, claimed exceed rupees 20 lakhs but does not exceed rupees 1 crore, and appeals against the orders of any district forum within the state. The last level is National Commission. It shall consist of a person who is or has been a judge of the Supreme Court as its president, not less than 4 or not more than such number of members as may be prescribed, and one of whom shall be a woman. Every member of the National Commission shall hold office for a term of 5 years or up to the age of 70, whichever is earlier. It shall have jurisdiction to entertain complaints where the value of the goods or service and compensation, if any, the claims exceed rupees 1 crore, and appeals against the order of any state commission. Let me show you one case study for your better understanding. Krishnan Kumar Bajaj versus PepsiCo. It is one of the leading brand. So, what is it? So, Bajaj, a resident of Ahmedabad, had purchased a Lay's packet on 28th June 2010 and sensed it being underweight. He wrote twice to the manufacturer. While the first letter got no response, in reply to the second, it offered Bajaj gifts hamper, which he refused. Bajaj approached CERS, who wrote to PepsiCo. So the company refused to accept their fault and gave several unsatisfactory clarifications. CERS took the issue to the Consumer Disputes Redressal Forum, which also gave a favorable ruling. The company asked for a bill of purchase, which Bajaj could not produce. Ultimately, what was the judgment? The court overruled the argument of his not having a bill. CERS requested the court to direct PepsiCo to deposit rupees 2 lakh in the Consumer Welfare Fund and award rupees 2,75,250 as punitive damages, and also to give rupees 70,000 as cost of litigation. Hope Consumer Protection Act, this entire part is clear to you, and the case study also helped you in better understanding. Thank you. Hope to see you in the next class.